Inakwana. Did I get it?
Yes,
I wanted to impress.
Yes, you did. You shocked us.
You shocked everybody. They just couldn't believe that my Hausa can be that fluent. Inakwana, everyone. Well,
it's not Inakwananku. That one I know.
I have to put ku.
Yes, that's everyone.
Inakwananku. Okay. I'm not supposed to be
hello.
Hello. Whatever the things she said. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the best place on earth to be at this time, and that is on Jasiri. And not only that, let me say cheers to the weekend because it comes with hot topics. And Tolu so wambe, she was not around for a long time doing serious work, but Tolu would come back to work.
Was she at Wambe thinking yesterday? Do you know?
No, she said on Saturday.
She rested. Saturday we're preparing for.
Don't worry.
And she made everybody prepare.
Dirty December is coming.
But this is 3 more months.
And my sister-in-law is going to be around.
You know that I know 20 families now coming from America.
Yeah.
And my sister and her friends from UK, they're about 7.
Airbnbs are almost fully booked.
Yeah. Almost booked.
Almost fully booked.
In
You
fact,
should date there, be thinking that nothing's happening.
Anyway, before we get into the topic of discussion, I know the ladies are ready to serve, and trust me, on our hot topic today. Hey, Tolu, what's the number after 7?
Go ahead.
Hey! So go grab a friend and grab your guguru and ekpa to join the party because today's hot topics. Oh, my mad go. Roll the montage.
All right, we'll start with the latest in the death of Nigerian journalist Somtochukwu Maduagwu. The FCT Police Command has confirmed the arrest of 12 suspects who are said to be responsible for her death and that of a security guard, Barnabas Danlami, during a robbery at Unique Apartments, Katampe Extension, Mabushi in Abuja on the 29th of September 2025. So according to a statement by the command spokesperson, SP Josephine Ade, the suspects range in age from 20 to 31, with all reportedly from Kaduna and Katsina states. Police investigations revealed that the gang procured their firearms from Niger Republic and have confessed to several other armed robberies across Katampe, one a hotel in Apo and another in Zuba within the FCT, and were planning a fresh robbery when they were arrested. Items recovered include a locally fabricated AK-47 rifle, a pistol, a pump-action gun, 36 live ammunition, 2 cartridges, 4 mobile phones, 2 knives, a cutlass, and a heavy flashlight. SP Ade concluded that investigations are still ongoing to uncover their wider network and the supplier of their weapons.
Well, Somtochukwu Maduagwu, a brilliant lawyer, reporter, anchor, and producer, died at 29, sadly, after reportedly falling from the 3rd floor of her apartment in a desperate attempt to escape the armed robbers that night. She was rushed to Maitama General Hospital, but sadly did not make it. Now, the suspects said that they shared 200,000 naira each from the proceeds of the robbery. 4 suspects were first arrested after investigators tracked the victims' stolen phones. So, quite sad. Quite sad.
I don't know if we have some reactions to this because this was the latest that came out just yesterday towards evening. So here's the reactions. Great job, but will they be brought to justice? Will Police NG sentence the criminals and robbers to death? Will this not still be an abandoned case in our country? Justice does not come easy. And yes, I understand sentiment, but it's not police that sentence people to death. That's the criminal justice system, which the police are a part of. I wish to commend the Nigeria Police Force, Abuja Command, for their commendable professionalism and swift action in apprehending those responsible for the tragic incident that claimed the life of the Arise News staff. This decisive move demonstrates commitment to justice, accountability, and the protection of every Nigerian citizen. I also want to remind us as a people that our challenges are not rooted in religion or ethnicity, but rather in the failure of governance and the absence of effective policies that prioritize the welfare of all. When institutions like the Nigeria Police perform their duties with integrity and dedication, it rekindles hope and strengthens public trust in our system. Once again, I extend heartfelt appreciation to the Nigeria Police Force, Abuja Command, for a job well done. Your service to justice and national peace is duly recognized and deeply appreciated. Y'all quick to blame the police if they don't do their job, yet when they get it right, you still heap loads of conspiracies on their work. Well done to the officers. Nigeria is not ready to fight crime. We can't solve insecurity if we keep pampering terrorists, murderers, and bandits. What exactly is the reason for hiding their faces? It's good they're making arrests, but the police need to tread carefully. There are already too many innocent people behind bars. Thorough investigation and proper evidence are key before anyone ends up in custody. While discussing the Nigeria Police's shortcomings, we should also commend their swift action in the murder case of the Rise TV journalists. Kudos to them. It's a lot. I know a lot of people are happy to hear this update. 12, it said that there are a few more who are still on the run. So that's a very large criminal robbery gang that has been carrying these out. And apparently they were also in the midst of planning yet another attack, I think maybe for this weekend or early next week, when they were arrested. And I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me in this story is 200,000. That was the value of a life to them. Because one confessed to shooting the security guard. Yeah. Then there was one who said that he tried to pull her up from outside of the window, but that she was too heavy for him to pull up. And I'm thinking to myself, the reason she jumped, the reason she's outside of the window is because you people came into her house. You came into her home. You came into her compound. You came into where she thought she was safe. And she rather chose the window than deal with criminals and robbers. And it's just a very sad situation. 200,000 naira.
You know, I am someone that likes to commend the police when they do an effective work. I've always said that I don't think our police force lacks capacity. If they just have more enabling, you know, they are more enabled. They have everything it takes to work. I think a lot of them will be more content to be able to do excellent work. But just to imagine that a gang will be that established, coordinated, and that much, if they are able to apprehend 12, imagine how many they are. And the thing that really, really scares me is the age of these robbers.
Yes, from
you can see that they
31.
are young, from about 21 to 31. And you're wondering that the age of crime keeps getting younger and younger by the day. And this calls for another deeper problem that we need to fix. Because if the youth are still wandering about the street with no purpose, no job, no employment, of course, an idle hand will always find work for itself. And that is why some of these criminal miscreants will find many of them able to recruit into gangs. So we need to, you know, try harder. The government needs to try harder for the youths of the country so that some of them will have a lot more to do than just to be seen loitering around for all of these miscreants to corrupt into gangs. Look at what happened to this young lady now. What could they have taken from the apartment? All the apartment they robbed. It was the value to every one of them. 200.
They stole cars.
I think they said they stole a particular car and they sold it, of course, very cheaply. And that was when, you know, they shared the money and got 200,000 naira.
Oh, so they didn't even get, it wasn't like this was money recovered from the houses. It was some of the value of quote-unquote operation.
Oh my God. They pawned it very cheaply. It's really, really sad, you know, because this particular life has been cut short, you know. She was, like we said earlier, she was a brilliant lawyer, reporter, anchor, and also producer. And this is the reason why a lot of people keep saying, do not allow Nigeria happen to you. Because in this case,
it's not that anybody allows, it's not that anybody allows Nigeria to happen to them.
I'm just saying, may Nigeria not happen to you is what, you know, people actually keep saying. It's quite sad that she panicked, you know, that moment and decided to jump off the third floor. It is really, really sad. The way Tolu even put it, imagine an armed robber you're running away from comes and tries to help you. You know, a lot of things.
Says they're helping. I'm not running if you're not chasing me.
Exactly. A lot of things that have been going through her mind. What do they want to do to me? Do they want to take advantage of me? Do you understand? What do they want? And she decided to jump, thinking she had a better chance of surviving that fall. But it is really, really sad that, you know, her life was cut short.
I don't know to what extent I don't know what we can benefit from this as people. One would hear it. I think the average Nigerian would have thought that, oh, probably they send them to her. You know how you say they would have sent
coming out
initially they would have sent. What did she say? What did she do? Where did she find herself in, you know, to compromise her? And then how did they know exactly where she lived?
Let's also forget,
but people
were like, why did she jump? Why did she jump?
No, but I don't think that is a line we need to even go down.
No,
she was not the only person who lived in those flats.
Yeah.
And they had already done apparently operation in a number of flats, and it was her hearing them coming and the fact that they were just getting towards her that she jumped. I don't want us even to go down this road.
No. Anybody could have
at that time.
I know it's weird and it's
her we know because she's on TV. What if it was somebody else in the compound that we don't know that?
Do you know that there are people who would still posit that wouldn't it have been better for her to stay, whatever it is they were going to do to her, whether it's rape her, whether it's abuse, you know, whatever, she could have handled it, she would still be alive. That's how twisted thinkings are out there. But the truth is that at that point in time, nobody knows how you're going to react when you're faced with such a danger. You choose to flee, in that minute, in that second, in that moment, it's adrenaline that's functioning for you. So when she jumped out, I don't think it occurred to her that she could lose her life. It occurred to her that probably she'd be wounded, but not that her life would be lost.
Again, as you said, she was looking at the people who have come in, because I think there's CCTV footage of them in the hallways, if we can get that up. People are coming, we don't know what she saw. We don't know what she heard. And again, at that point, I know there's a gentleman who also shared about being one of those who was in one of the flats that was robbed. At the end of the day, the only reason she went out that window was because these men, whether they're 20, you're 17, you're 31, I don't care. Because these 12 men chose to enter that compound with weapons with the intent to rob and to harm. You killed a security guard. She made a decision in a split second that anybody could make because of the situation. And I think one of the other things, aside from the 200,000 naira, because again, you are willing to enter somebody's compound with the kind of weapons that we saw. You shot a security guard because he stood in your way. At the end, 200,000 naira is all. One other thing I have to say is this. This case received massive attention because she is in the public light. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of these situations that happen. The presidency has something to say, putting pressure on the police. Fine, that is a situation of circumstance of who she is. We cannot take that away. But I wonder how many other people do not get justice from these same kind of situations. As quickly as the police moved in this regard, can you move like this for everyday Nigerian? Can you move like this for the average Nigerian? We're happy she's getting justice, but we want justice for the rest of us as well.
You keep saying that you want the police to move for every Nigerian.
Is that not their job?
We know it's their job, but for the enabling power, the enabling the capacity to be able to do this job that they are called to do, the government needs to do more.
That is why we're on this table.
When you
call them out to do more.
To do more. When you see
because imagine getting your weapons from Niger Republic. Niger, I mean, you crossed country. You crossed country to the neighboring country to get your weapons from there. And 12 of you, or even more, you break into this compound and you hear go, you don't hear come. You are just as in, you don't hear anything. It's like you're on a mission. Why? In the end, what did you steal that was worth 100 million from everybody that you robbed from?
Do you guys also know where this place is?
Kantakwe
Extension, Mabushi, Abuja. Mabushi is not outside. I lived in Mabushi when I was doing youth service. Mabushi is not outskirts of Nigeria. It's a hop and a skip away from Wuse too. It's a hop and a skip away from Wuse. it's a bridge and an express away. It is not the outskirts of Abuja.
Yes, and
it is within
that
town.
house is actually
And they've not done. This was not their first. It was not their second. It was probably either their third or their fourth, and they're planning another.
Hey, but you know, this reminded me of the time that, you know, armed robbers will go en masse to a street. They would drive a truck.
Yeah.
And you will see like 30 people. Look, I just saw the apartment building today. Imagine when 12 people enter that kind of apartment building. There are different kinds of people living in that house.
Yeah.
The panic, the chaos, the noise.
And they're robbing simultaneously as
look
well.
Look at the footage.
Yeah.
The going up and down the stairs. Every one of the people in that house will be so scared that you are probably not thinking, look at what they're carrying as guns.
You know, with the CCTV footage, you know, with the security and the fact that it's actually in an estate, one would actually think that, you know, this particular house would be secure enough for the robbers not to even be able to penetrate. But the way they talked about it, the way they opened the doors as if, you know,
they live here,
like,
they know,
they live there.
they know how
they just
the
banged the doors
works,
down, like nothing was stopping them in that moment.
Could it be an
It's really
inside job?
sad.
I have no idea. But this shows, I mean, it's not a kwekwe place now, so to say, in street parlance. It's not a kwekwe place. There's cameras
doors.
here, there's perceived security.
Exactly.
So if someone decided you want to stay in this place, you see how the system works, you trust the system now that there's security.
Yeah.
How many of the places that we stay here, and this is Abuja, Tolu made a point. This is Abuja, like it's in the heart of Abuja. Let's say it.
Abuja
it's not in the
is
outskirts.
no longer safe. It is no longer safe.
It's easy to say Abuja is no longer safe.
Many incidences, you know, so many people complaining about the robbery incidences. We're not even talking about, you know, the one chance for now. But Abuja is no longer safe.
How did it get here? So it's been happening.
It's been happening
slowly and steadily.
When we're talking about these, the outcome of the dastardly act that was committed and the outcome, you will know that when you say something is beginning to increase, there are other indices that are causing it. If we don't address that root cause, we will keep seeing this happen over and over again. When you see a group of youths aimlessly walking, no work, no employment, nothing,
no direction,
and they are in
so to say,
different pockets of places. Like sometimes I'll go about in Lagos and I will see, when I wake up in the morning,
just hanging around.
I would like to I will see about 30 standing. The fear that will grip my mind, I'm like, God, if these people are not employed, engaged, this kind of act will keep happening. Look at the weapons they are carrying. And some of us will still say, police, do your work.
Now, and you talked about
some of the ammunition that armed robbers carry is even more, is better. The firearm they have is better than what the police have.
Yeah.
So you are wondering that what are they going to face them with?
When Lolo talked about, you know, unemployment, I remember there's some spots in Abuja where you find so many people, young and old, waiting to be picked up
for daily
work. And you know, and not all of them get picked up. So imagine if, you know, you've been there one day to like in a month. You don't have anything to eat, nothing, nowhere to sleep. And
you will resort to
somebody just offers you something. And let's not lie, the country is hard. Even for those that are working, the country is hard. So imagine for those that have no employment, no means of sustaining themselves. So that's when I think about the social security that people abroad have. I feel a bit bad for us in Africa or in Nigeria that there is no recourse anywhere. At least some of these people, they know that bad as he bad. I go feel there's 10K that the government will give me. Do you know that if the government is giving some low-income families 10K every month, it might be something to some of them. But nothing. And yet we are expecting the country to get better.
And I think that there's a point you make on the social welfare, because while we don't have a social welfare scheme, we had informal ones. The informal social welfare is breaking down.
Work
not that it doesn't work. It's broken down. The people who used to support. Remember how much I told you guys? One Nigerian salary is responsible for sometimes for supporting upwards of 5 people.
True.
But that salary now can barely support a person who's even making it. So even the informal social welfare system that we have, which is a family, extended help, a friend here, those people are struggling. So what do we expect? The real net, the fake net, the informal net, there's no net.
All of them have holes.
There's no net.
People are falling through on a daily basis. Whether we like it or not, before youths tend to turn to cry fully like this with their full chest. Did you see that those boys are not even covering their faces?
Yeah, they don't care.
Maybe they have gotten to that point like, well,
we don't
whatever
care.
happens, happens.
Yeah.
But it still does not mean that we want crime to continue. We are looking for ways that we can stem this from becoming a full-blown crisis. I remember many years ago, I was still in law school then. The things that used to come to areas, I'm not saying they don't rob one house or Tolu. They'll park at the beginning of the street and rob the entire street. I remember then my mom was saving my school money for NYM law school, and they took the money from them. That was the first time that we would ever experience armed robbery. But you know, before they will have that kind of audacity,
gumption,
look at the insecurity in the country generally. Every day we are doing townhouses everywhere in the country because insecurity is everywhere. Where do you think all these people are coming from?
From the rural areas most times.
So
rural migration is also an issue.
We're going to connect this story to the next story. We're taking a break, but when we come back, guess what? Nigerians were the ones with the shortest lifespan. I can't say anything else. Please, let's just go on a break.
Well, thank you for staying with us on Jasiri. And it's still Hot Topics Friday. And this particular news that broke in the middle of the week had actually made counting my days and years. Like, I started, you know, I was reflecting. I was like, so are you saying I have less than 20, less than how many years? Like, honestly, it was a sobering reality check because the latest United Nations World Population Prospects report paints a grim picture of life expectancy in Nigeria. Now, on average, Nigerian men live to just 54.3 years, while women live slightly longer at 54.9 years. And that places the country among the bottom 25 nations globally, behind Chad at 55.2 years and only slightly below South Sudan and the Central African Republic, both hovering around 57 years, which is even higher than Nigeria, if you ask me. So zoom out and the trend is even clearer. Sub-Saharan Africa bears the heaviest burden, with 22 of the 25 countries with the shortest lifespans located right here on the continent. Now, Lesotho, Somalia, and Mali all fall below 61 years on average. A stark reminder that despite our natural wealth and youthful population, too many Africans are still dying too soon. So what's cutting our lives short? Health experts point to a combination of high maternal and infant mortality rates, insecurity, and limited access to quality health care, particularly in rural communities where even basic medical facilities remain a luxury. You wonder why they keep moving to urban areas? Now, for many Nigerians, preventive care is non-existent, and treatable conditions often turn fatal because help comes too late or not at all.
And that's not all, no. It's not just infectious diseases that are to blame anymore. The World Health Organization has warned that non-communicable diseases, cancers, heart conditions, diabetes, chronic lung illnesses, and even mental health disorders are now responsible for a growing share of deaths, quietly reshaping Nigeria's health crisis. Because behind every statistic is a story of families left grieving, of potential cut short, and of a nation that must decide whether long life will remain a privilege or finally become a right.
So let's look at some of the common factors for countries with low life expectancy. You have weak healthcare systems, few hospitals, limited medicines, and low doctor-to-patient ratios. Nigeria, check. Poverty and inequality, poor nutrition, unsafe housing, and low access to basic needs. Nigeria, check. Conflict and instability, wars and political crisis destroy infrastructure and displace families.
Nigeria,
Check. High rates of infectious diseases, malaria, HIV/AIDS, and cholera remain major killers. Nigeria, check. And continental pattern. Almost all of these countries are in sub-Saharan Africa, where poverty, weak governance, and disease burdens remain deep challenges. And we just had a story. So, you know, when we talk about insecurity, sometimes we use that term and we're typically talking about these big terrorist conflicts. But insecurity is the armed robbery on the street, it's the carjacking, it's the petty theft, it's all of those things. And one other thing that I'm not sure is here is also that bad governance and weak governance, it plays on the systems of its citizens. It helps to increase your blood pressure.
I agree with that completely,
It helps to keep you anxious.
actually.
It helps to keep mental diseases on the rise. Bad governance is also linked to the stability of our health.
Yes, I agree with that, without a doubt. Do you know how many people are walking around Lagos at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Yes.
Nigerians don't sleep anymore. 3 a.m. they are awake. It's not as if they just woke up from there on the streets already. They're on the roads. Everyone is pursuing their business. I was speaking...
But is that particular only to Lagos?
No.
Lagos is aggravated because
Lagos is aggravated because they're a commercial nerve center.
Yes.
I'm just finding out that half of the time there's so many things that are, it's like an avalanche of everything. Look at us living in the Abuja axis. I come to work every day with a banging headache because I've been in traffic to get to work for like 4 hours in the morning. And you're doing that morning and night. The roads are bad, the rains are in. Imagine those that are dealing with flooding in their areas. You are anxious, you have to be at work. You are anxious if it starts raining. You don't know what the state of your house will be when you return. And when there is too much rain, flooding, diseases arrive. Cholera is so easy to become a pandemic because when flowing water, stagnant water mix together, and many things can happen. And on top of that, we have low bad drainage system. That means waters can just begin to mix together.
So how long are we going to work against everything like this avalanche you're talking? How long can we fight against it? So Tolu, I really am not surprised about this report. I'm not surprised at all.
And there's something that Dashen, what is it? She's been having this.
Okay, what I agree with. No, I know Tolu. I'm smiling since. What I agree with, all the factors that you have mentioned and all that. But we must, say that this is actually a step up. Because, yes, as of 2020, the total life expectancy was 53.07 years.
So it's stepped up by...
Yes, it is a lot now. Exactly.
You're living 2.2 months longer.
Serious. But it's higher, right? And as of 1990, it was even 45.73 years.
I do not live in the kind of world where I'm happy that I went from 49 years to
we're not saying we're happy.
Counterparts in the rest of the world.
We're not saying you're happy. We're not saying we should be happy, but we're saying it's a step up. So, with all the factors and all that, and I don't know if Nigerians are just resilient by nature. I think it's like
no, baby, our resilience is killing us.
Because we talked about Somtochukwu's flight or fight response, and that is a natural inbred response to any form of perceived danger. But the thing is, the majority of us, I'm learning about it because I don't agree that I'm advancing in age. I don't look it. I started to learn about certain things. Cortisol. Too many Nigerians have cortisol running through their systems. Why? Because we're in a constant fight or flight situation. Is it the mechanic that you want to fight with?
Is it the bus driver?
In Lolo's
I've not had lights for 3
we're in a constant state of anxiety. Your body is not meant to harbor that much anxiety constantly. So inside of all of us, that's why so many people talk about many Nigerians are walking dead.
Yes,
inside of our system, things are messed up.
I also feel some of this anxiety is peculiar to some certain states than others because
she wants to blame Lagos now. She wants to blame Lagos.
There's land where you can actually wake up and there's no traffic.
Why are you not there?
There's no poverty. They are living in abject poverty because
not necessarily. There are other states in Nigeria that you go there and they feel like retirement states where it's just chill.
Have you asked pensioners if they've been paid?
Yes.
We're going on a break. We'll be right back.
It's management.
Repeat what you just said.
No,
we can't say.
Repeat what you just said to the men of Lagos.
No, let's drink together. Let's sip together. Cheers.
See, the stress levels in Lagos, the anxiety levels around the country, they might vary. But the truth is, I'll say what I said. Nigerians, we are carrying levels of anxiety constantly, daily, weekly, that the body is not meant to carry. And it's affecting us. And many of us are walking around because we're getting up in the morning, we're able to do whatever we do. We think everything is fine. Let's look at the top 5 countries, please. Let's see if we can learn lessons.
And the bottom 5, I love this.
Let's see if we can learn lessons. The top 5 countries, who are they? Monaco, 86.61 years. San Marino, 85.93 years. China, 85.77 years. Yes. Japan, 85.00 years. Korea, 84.54 years. Out of the top 5, 3 are Asian.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. The 2 that are European, which are the top 2, I found that quite fascinating. But what do the top 5 countries with the longest life expectancies have in common? I hope somebody's taking notes. What do they have? All right, so they have strong healthcare systems. It's either universal or affordable medical access, which ensures early treatment and healthy aging. High income and education levels. People are better informed about nutrition, hygiene, and disease prevention. Healthy diets and lifestyle. Balanced meals with low processed food, regular exercise, and less smoking. Please add alcohol to that. They also have low crime and political stability, peaceful environments, lower stress, and improve quality of life. And then continental pattern, mostly found in Europe and East Asia, regions marked by wealth, peace, and efficiency. The type of government you have, the quality of your government can be killing you.
I don't think there's some Nigerians that you set these factors. But
you see why?
By the time you list these factors to them, they don't understand what you're saying because they can't see themselves living these kinds of lives. That's why when you move to the West or anywhere out of Nigeria, you find it difficult. Nigerians find it difficult to adjust. Because they say, what am I doing? Even when
your body was
even in Nigeria here that you have some days off, you wake up and you ask yourself, there's a panic. I'm not doing anything. How can I sit in the house and not do anything? You are panicking. And then you now begin to think of what you need to do to fill the time. So if we want to, we have a long way to go in mentally recalibrating how we perceive these things. So it's not as if I agree with everything that is. I'm not actually surprised that there are 3 Asian countries there. Because those are the guys that tell you what to eat. They eat things.
Another thing is, we're at a point where we need to start looking at any cities being built, any changes being made, need to be made with long-term health in mind. Cities like, I know the Scandinavian cities, or countries rather, they also have high life expectancy. They make them walk. They build the cities in such a way that you can it's not around. To your best interest to bring a car, but there is alternative transportation. They encourage walking. They encourage community lifestyle.
You cannot walk. Lagos.
So this city alone is as if it's a weapon fashioned against us. Because we have heard from the foundation the real blueprint of how a city should be. We have heard from it. And if we are to reset a city, that means you want to demolish the entire Lagos state and replant and rebuild.
And we can't.
Because I passed this traffic situation that made me pass a lot of back roads. Tolu, all those palatial estates that are built at the back of Chevron, running into Jakonde, Tolu, they have zero drainage. How can you have an estate that has more than 6 high-rise inside? And the gutter in front of the house is just this. It's not even as wide as this table. So you are wondering that. I just looked at it and I was looking at. I was really constructively looking around and I'm like, so buying property in this area is like wasting your money, because at the end of the day, water, humidity, and all other negative factors that come with water is going to. Do you know how many of my friends that their houses they had to refloor?
It's
on their own.
The houses are sipping water from under. The house is humid, and that means disease.
Mildew.
And then there's
a lot of people do not even know how dangerous mold is.
Mold and mildew.
Mold and mildew.
There are also similar infrastructure like that in the Asian countries as well, but they're minimal. Yes, compared to they say Asian countries, Japan, China are living in the future already. The other day I watched a video of a doctor who works in a hospital, and she gave us an idea of what it feels like to work in a hospital. They have clock-in booths. You go in at any time. A lot of them, you clock in and then go in, start work, and then even the blood samples. It's not someone that will take it from office to office to get it checked.
It's automated.
It's automated. Everything is tech savvy, so it makes it easier and efficient for you to work.
When I look at Japan, there's one. We'll take a break.
Yes, let's just take a break now. We'll be back.
We have to move on to the next story because if we stay on this life expectancy, it will continue. There are too many angles to it, but we have to do better. There's no reason that Nigerian men will live to just about 54.3 years and Nigerian women will live to 54. There's nothing to celebrate.
That is 54 years, 3 months. Let's call it what it is.
Even in the increments that Madam Dashen is trying to encourage us to celebrate. I said we're moving on. It's okay. Because I'll jump across the table. That's you. Unfortunately, our next story isn't something that we are happy to be discussing. It isn't just sad, it's alarming. In just 2 months, 5 female politicians or political appointees in Lagos have died, many newly sworn in, barely days into service. And what's going on behind the scenes? Now, are these tragic coincidences or signs of something deeper? Since the current Lagos Council administration began on July 27, 2025, 5 women elected into local council roles have passed away after brief illnesses. Adebimpe Akintola, was administrative head Koko Aguda LCDA, died September 29th after a brief illness. Oluwakemi Rufai, Councillor Ward C, Ibejuleki, died August 13th, just 2 weeks after inauguration. She was the only woman in the Legislative Council and reportedly passed away following a brief illness. Zainab Shotayo, Councillor Ward C3, Odi Olowo Ojuwoye, LCDA, also Chief Whip, died August 18th after a brief illness. Princess Oluremi Nutaye Ajose, Vice Chairman Badagry West, LCDA, died September 20th. And Bashirat Oluwakemi Maya Bikan, is that right? Maya Bikan. Councillor Ward F, Shomolu LGA, died September 21st. All of them were stepping into roles of public service. Many had just begun. Their communities are in mourning. Questions are now being raised about health, welfare, and what it means to take public office as a woman.
While the circumstances surrounding their deaths may differ, what remains clear is the need to honor their contributions and preserve their legacies. And even though their passing is a sobering reminder of the value of women's voices in governance and the importance of continually encouraging and supporting more women to step into leadership roles, it also leaves a growing concern about the safety, health, and welfare of women in politics, especially elected leaders. In September, after the first 4 deaths, Lagos APC spokesperson Seyi Oladejo dismissed suggestions that the deaths of female elected officials in the state reflect political hostility towards women. He urged the public to resist speculation and misinformation, describing the losses as shocking and painful for the party and the state. That is what's reported in the Punch newspaper.
So let's take some reactions very quickly before we discuss this. A sensible government will order an autopsy stat, but this is Nigeria. So into the ground they go. We throw an Owambe to mourn the passing, then back to business until the 6th victim drops. Are their male colleagues also dying or just the females alone? I don't think I have seen this kind of thing before. It's not just mere coincidence. This is terrible. When will anybody ask for an investigation into these sudden deaths, and how are they all women that just assume political office? This is one of those horror movies they will write about in 10 years' time based on true events. An investigation panel to be set up and make sure all female officials go for immediate check at the hospital. They should take this serious. So these are people's mothers. At Jide Sanwo-Olu, what are you doing about this? There should be an investigation. Women shouldn't die because they join politics. This is suspicious and doesn't look natural. If women can't hold political power in Lagos, stop asking for our votes. Stop begging us to vote for you. The passing of yet another female local government official in Lagos is deeply troubling. While we mourn, we must also reflect. 5 deaths in 2 months is too many to ignore. Out of respect for their service and the public they served, a transparent review is both appropriate and necessary. Silence helps no one. And I checked, since the September statement by the APC spokesperson, there hasn't really been an official statement or any particular statement from the state government. We just came from a conversation involving Somtochukwu and her choosing to jump out of the window because of armed robbery went to a conversation about life expectancy and why, unfortunately, now Nigeria ranks the lowest globally. And now we're here, 5 female politicians or political appointees within the past 2 months. And I was reluctant to have this story because there's so much speculation, and speculation can be very rife. And I don't want this to be too much of a speculative conversation, but it's a conversation we need to have because it seems that nobody is talking about it. How do 5 female political appointees or politicians, whatever you want to call them, in a cluster die in 2 months?
You know, we're in Africa. And I don't want to throw the same line.
I'm waiting for Catholic to throw that line.
Mama spiritual angle. She's delving into the spirit.
Because our minds are searching for explanations.
You know, sometimes I say the level of stress it takes to do politics, even on the man. You know that a lot of people forget that physiologically women are different from men, and we all our body absorbs stress differently, and politics alone is very stressful to do. No matter how much you want to put up a bold face and just go out and do business as usual, there are so many intricacies to it that sometimes it can weigh a little heavier on women. And this is not different because women have always been at the butt of so many of these things over the years. Even when we do, whether you're a woman in management, in administration, in politics, in any kind of leadership role, the amount of stress you have to take, I think sometimes is 5 times more than what an average man would take. Look at women in leadership. You have to work twice as hard as a man. Where do you think that twice as hard stress is going? It's your body. And sometimes, you know, because women are constantly multitasking, you might forget to ask yourself pertinent questions. Some days ago, I left work and I was really stressed. I almost fainted when I went to the bank. I had to pull myself back. I went back home, checked my blood pressure, make sure that everything was okay. But whether I liked it or not, the days don't stop coming. You have to keep showing up.
But I hear you, Lolo, but at the same time, since a week when I was going through, like, just looking at the statistics, I was just looking at the names, like, no, I was checking to see what exactly, how long they were in the office for, and one was 17 days, the other was 55 days.
Another was just 2 or 3 days.
Exactly. So that was what I was leaning in to see. What could cause this demise? It's forget if you want to plot this graph, it's not looking good. It's not. And there's nothing anybody could tell me. There's spiritual something inside it. There's nothing. We don't need to be seers or I don't even know, versed in all these spiritual, but you just know that something is just off. It's not normal. And while I hear you, Lolo, saying that we women take on a lot more, we have to prove ourselves 2 times more than men have to. At the same time, these were women who were sworn in. They were looking, you know, when a woman is looking forward to resuming and making changes and being
government.
Why? And then it's not talked about.
Let's not also forget that these women were also in the same party. You know, so it's it definitely raises an eyebrow. And I know Tolu has been putting this particular story off because I brought it to our attention, you know, a few weeks ago.
Because of the
I really
understand.
About people's death
are different, and there is none like just like
they look young.
So it is safe to actually say that, you know, life expectancy for women in politics is way lower than the men.
We need that research.
Funny enough, you know, one comment I wanted to make when we were talking about life expectancy was, guess who are the people who seem to be living the longest?
I thought about it.
Politicians.
Exactly. I thought
about
it. See how it will be.
I'm telling
if you have the best access, do you know what healthcare means? Do you know how many Nigerians are dying?
And you know there's
buying fake drugs.
I get it. And then there's a lacuna. There are no women or very few women in politics as well. So the men seem like, because they're in politics, they're enjoying all the benefits that come with the office. So if women were also there, they would also be privy and privileged to enjoy these services as well.
And most of them
years?
died from brief illnesses. Why wasn't an autopsy done?
Tolu said that thing yesterday.
I think a lot of families owe themselves autopsies because, again, we said it's just life expectancy. So many Nigerians are walking around and you don't know that the whole internal system is destroyed. Your kidneys are failing, your liver is failing, your lungs are shot. We don't know. We don't know which one is genetic, which one is modifiable and environmental factors. But by the time the third female lawmaker had died, this should no longer allow choice for the families. This should have become a state intervention. It should have become a state intervention. The statement from the APC person was, when the fourth person died, the fifth woman has now died. You've not updated your statement.
I'm sure all the women now are involved in prayer houses.
And Dashen said
there
that
is not a sixth woman, because if there's a sixth woman,
she will be
Lagos
panicking.
State will have to take responsibility.
Exactly.
Because what did you do? Because yes, Lolo talks about the pressure. So even let's be honest, people die of brief illnesses in Nigeria. You can wake up with a headache and by tonight you are dead. It is the truth of the matter. But in a situation that is as public as this, there needed to have been much more of an investigation, much more of transparency. I don't even think, even some of the families are asking questions.
To even determine if this is actually a pattern or a coincidence.
You
know, what happened to other women, LCDA women, you know, in the past?
These women are young
Something
now.
as small as high blood pressure. But if they have been monitoring maybe their blood pressure, they probably have known that some of these women are on the threshold of maybe hypertension or potential for stroke, something.
You know,
but because nobody is investigating, we just hear brief illness. So that is why we need their public office holder.
I would tell you.
I really don't want to, believe that they are not putting their health first.
No, at all. I would say one thing that my mother used to say jokingly. If my mother were here, she would say, Have I not told you children, have I not told like my siblings and I, that when you're working in civil service, you always have to watch your back. There's always some juju practice and something. My mother was a very vocal woman. So she would say there's always these kind of practices. Whether you like it or not, we are Africans and it is part of our culture. They're traditional religious practitioners that is them. And she tells you, if my mom were here, she would tell you that she's not surprised. And it is not, all these things, people are speaking English. Because it boils down to that. You can't say people who were just excited to resume and bring the change that people want to see.
And I think it's important, I think it's important before we leave that once again we see their faces, we look at this, and we call on the Lagos State government to look into this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a pattern. It is a pattern. Their families deserve to know if something
just 17 days after.
The public deserves to know if something happened. And I hope to God there's not a sixth woman. If there is a sixth woman, Lagos State, we have to
22 days.
Let's find, if it is high blood pressure and hypertension, if it is lifestyle, let them know. Use it as an opportunity to save the lives of more women and more people. At the end of the day, after 5, there should not be another one. Because Lagos State, nobody will find it funny with you.
Because we say they are using it for...
No, it's true. Let's call it what it is.
Today's show. It unfortunately ended up being a show that was not as happy as our usual hot topics, but it is one that we needed to have. So we'll say a very big thank you for joining us and promise you next week you get more powerful, inspiring conversations coming from this table. Have a fantastic weekend.